5:30 to 7:30, 2 hours. तुम्हें करवा चौथ रखना है क्या सैटरडे को? हाँ, लाइट क्यों चली गई? Good afternoon, everyone. मनु थोड़ा आवाज बढ़ा दे. So we'll quickly revise. ये doubts भी clear हो जाएंगे. What is this regarding the structure of the atmosphere? So an idea regarding the structure: tropo, strato, meso, thermo. Tropo, pause, good for planes. Stratosphere में temperature increases, you know that because of the presence of ozonosphere. Karman layer, meteor impact, and International Space Station, etc. orbits around this. Fine with this? This is again another example how reality में it is, because generally हमें लगता है flat. No, you should not forget that Earth is round. So this is how the different layers of the atmosphere are. Now what is this? These are aurora lights in the North Pole and the South Pole. That is when the lights are there in the sky. In the northern hemisphere, North Pole में and the South Pole. So you can see this is due to the interaction of the Earth's magnetic field with the solar field of the Sun. So you can go through this. At the center of our solar system, the yellow star that sustains the life. The Sun's many magnetic fields distort and twist our parent star, rotates on its axis. When these fields come knotted together, they burst and create sunspots. So we'll do what is the sunspot cycle. At the center of the Sun, the temperature is 27 million degree Fahrenheit. That is, come here, 15 million degrees Celsius. So this is what is the sunspot. Sunspot, I will explain you what it is. मैंने ये sunspot का दिया है. When the solar winds reach the Earth, they interact with magnetosphere of the Earth, causing aurora borealis in the northern hemisphere, aurora australis in the southern hemisphere. And you can see this is how the lights are created. मतलब magnetic field of the Earth and the solar winds, they are interacting, and as a result of this you can see the lights are created. These are the houses, etc., mountains in this region. Even this is an example of the lights that are created. Then we started with the topic of insolation, incoming shortwave radiation, reflected shortwave radiations in some parts. Understand this reflected shortwave radiation. We'll do today what is known as albedo of the Earth. While the shortwave radiation that is absorbed by the Earth and converted into long wave, ये red color का है because this is used for heating. Yellow color is not used for heating of the atmosphere. Shortwave will hit the Earth, HEAT, heat up the Earth. That is, after heating up the Earth, it will be converted to long wave and then it will heat up the atmosphere. There are some of the waves which after falling on the Earth are reflected as it is by short waves. They are as short waves. They come as short waves. They fall on the ice, because you see the map कहाँ का है? Arctic का है. And they are reflected back. So that is what is known as an albedo of the Earth. वैसे ये किसका सिंबल है? वर्ल्ड with Arctic at the top. किस यूनाइटेड नेशंस का सिंबल इज अ वर्ल्ड मैप, बट क्या है? इक्वेटर दिखाया है या आर्टिक दिखाया है? आर्टिक. सो यू शुड रिमेंबर दिस जनरल नॉलेज बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस. दिस इफेक्ट इज आल्सो नोन एज ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट, दैट इज, और ग्लास इफेक्ट. सो दिस इज हाउ द एटमॉस्फेयर इज हीटेड अप. फाइन विद दिस? ये मैंने ग्लास इफेक्ट यूज्ड फॉर एग्रीकल्चर, used for floriculture, and this is what is our atmosphere. This is heating up the atmosphere. Now what are the factors that affect the insolation? We have done this factor, that is the angle of the sun rays. June sun rays means summer, vertical sun rays. They are falling vertically over a smaller area, hitting that area more, while the December sun rays, because for us northern hemisphere mein December is winter, So they will fall on the larger area. Fine with this? Angle of the sun rays, you should remember that हम इस region में है tropics, equator and 23.5, तो हमारे लिए more or less the sun rays are vertical throughout the year. Yesterday someone asked me a doubt कि why it is said that equator region receives maximum heat. It is because whether the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer or whether the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, equator receives vertical sun rays throughout the year. Because the earth is curved, you can see angle is increasing. इसलिए the heating power decreases. So इसीलिए we have seen as you go away from equator towards the poles, क्या होता है? Temperature increases or decreases? The temperature decreases. Polar regions में the temperature is very, very less. Fine with this? But equator regions में vertical sun rays and that effect is taking place. Getting it? Any doubts up tak? So can I say as I go from lower latitudes towards the higher latitudes, the sun rays will become more and more inclined? Why? Because the earth is curved. The sun rays will become more and more inclined and therefore the heating factor will be less. The nearer the equator, the higher the temperature. The further away from the equator, the lower the temperature of the earth. Getting it? Again I have shown you with this also. But it is not that simple. Why? Because the earth is inclined at an axis of 23.5 to its orbital axis, या 66.5 to its plane. 66.5 because 100 minus 90 minus 23.5 is 66.5. Because of this orbital axis, we get the phenomena of equinoxes and solstice. That is the day variation in the length of day and night due to axis as well as revolution, rotation along the axis as well as revolution. So you can see here, this is 21st of June. North South pole में अंधेरा. अब South pole even if it is rotating, it will not receive light. Why? Because earth is inclined. While the North pole even if it is rotating, we are somewhere here India. So if India is rotating, आधा time रात, some time of day, some time day, some night time. Why? Because we will rotate. But polar region is so small that even if it is rotating, does it going to the darker part? No. So polar regions, North Pole, 6 months of day, 6 months of night. It starts from here. Fine with this? Now this is here. So the sun rays are falling exactly on the center of a circle. So entire half of a circle will be illuminated. The half will be darker. But it is not stationary, it is rotating. So 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Equinox, September equinox. Then solstice. See, because earth is again tilted at an axis, northern hemisphere has more of a darker part. So we are here, Tropic of Cancer के पास. So you can see shorter days and longer nights. यहाँ पे longer days and shorter nights. Fine? But 6 continuous day. So therefore you should know why Norway is known as the land of midnight sun. Why? Because Norway is located at the poles. Norway is known as the land of midnight sun. Earth किस direction में rotate होता है? West to east. So Japan is the easternmost country. Japan is known as the land of rising sun. The same things here. And you can now see. Whatever the doubt was there yesterday, you can see South Pole में, even if it is rotating, there is no sunlight. Because the earth is tilted, तो हमें लगता है sun is over the Tropic of Cancer. Fine with this? Now the sun rays are falling over Tropic of Capricorn. What? Can you understand here? Which part is having more sunlight? Southern hemisphere or northern hemisphere? Southern. So even if the earth is rotating, longer amount of day, shorter amount of night. Why? Because the sun is exactly over the Tropic of Capricorn. So the Tropic of Capricorn wala region is getting more light. Why it is getting more light? Because the earth is tilted. Had the earth been straight, so light would have been equally distributed. Remember a simple fact: during the summer season, longer days, shorter nights. During the winter season, longer nights and shorter days. हाफ पार्ट एलिमिनेटेड है ना, पर ये अर्थ का हाफ नहीं है. अर्थ तो ऐसा है. This is not the half part of the earth in our terms. It is tilted at an axis. This is how the earth is, not this way. Had earth been straight, तो फिर no seasons at all. So the sunlight would have fallen only on the equator throughout the year. हमारे इसलिए I said the climate would have been same in India as it is in the month of March and April or October, September end and October. But because it is tilted, so sometimes we feel that sun rays are falling on the Tropic of Capricorn. Sometimes we feel that the sun rays are falling on the Tropic of Cancer. So as a result of this, even if it is rotating the summer season and winter season. So revolution and rotation.
Even though हमारी वो straight भी होती है, day and night तो रहते, but वो
seasons नहीं होते, इसलिए day and night rotation. Variation in the length of day and night, rotation on an inclined axis. Getting it? कल अगर यूपीएससी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, डे एंड नाइट आर फॉर्म ड्यू टू व्हाट? ड्यू टू रोटेशन. अर्थ अगर पर अगर पूछा है रोटेशन ऑन एन इंक्लाइन, why the variation in the length of day and night? Because earth is tilted at an axis, इसलिए there is variation. Had the earth been straight, make this straight, तो no seasons at all. Not yet got it? After the class then. Fine, any doubts? Electromagnetic spectrum, not visible to us, not visible to us. This is the, so gamma rays, X-rays, UV rays, you can go home and see this. Only thing, जब screenshot लेगा computer, तो ये लेना चाहिए, not this part. So, I'll ask Manu to give you this part here. Fine with this? For exam, prelims के लिए, these are the micro points. What is summer solstice? Fine. These are the micro points. What is the winter solstice? And you can look at this. What is this? Summer solstice. September 22nd, November, December, winter solstice. Then Feb, March, May and June. This is how the earth will go. And हमारे seasons, rainy season, retreating the season of tropical cyclones, यहाँ से यहाँ तक retreating monsoon, winter season जो अभी start हुआ है because the sun is now in the, what is today? October, November. What is this? October. What is day? 20. So sun is, earth is somewhere here in the southern hemisphere. Sun rays are falling in the southern hemisphere. So हमारे ऊपर we are getting inclined sun rays, not vertical sun rays. We are getting somewhat inclined sun rays because sun is here. So angle of the sun rays is greater. We are over the Tropic of Cancer. This is how the sun rays are falling. So obviously the heating power is lesser. Fine. And this is our solar system. What is in between? Sun. This is too hot for life to exist. Red color. पीछे का zone is too cold for life to exist. You should think about the grand design कि अर्थ अगर थोड़ा भी आगे होता, life would not have been possible. अर्थ अगर थोड़ा भी पीछे होता तो life would not be possible. अर्थ में life is possible because earth is in the habitable zone. अगर अर्थ थोड़ा ये रेड जोन में होता like other planets, तो water would have been in the gaseous form. Venus, Mercury, and अर्थ अगर पीछे होता तो द आइस क्रिस्टल्स मिलते हैं मार्स पे, जुपिटर पे. सो बट वी रिक्वायर वाटर इन द लिक्विड फॉर्म. फाइन. डू वी रिक्वायर वाटर इन द लिक्विड फॉर्म फॉर लाइफ? यस. डाउट है इसमें भी? देर इज इनफ वाटर वेपर इन द रूम. पानी मत पियो, डीप ब्रेथ ले लो, प्यास बुझेगी. So you require water in the liquid form for life to exist, because life originated in water and that is present only in the habitable zone. I will talk about this zone while doing environment because ये biomes का part है. What is known as an Goldilocks zone. This is a Goldilocks zone. What is a habitable zone? So you will get this uploaded with today's lecture. So you should remember that is what is the Goldilocks zone. Is the Earth only planet in the Goldilocks zone? In our solar system? Yes. How many such solar systems are there in our galaxy? Infinite. And how many such galaxies are there? Infinite. So in some other galaxy there are numerous such planets which are located in the Goldilocks zone जहाँ पे life is possible. So remember, we are not alone in the world. The only thing is we cannot connect. So in this year itself, last December में scientists have discovered 7 planets known as 7 sisters. All of them 7 are in the Goldilocks zone. The only thing is they are located 49 light years away from us. That is, we do not know whether they are all 7 in the Goldilocks zone जिसमें life is possible. The only thing is that if NASA sends a signal with the speed of light, it will take 49 years to reach that planet. And after that, if they choose to respond to us, then it will take another 49 years for that signal to come back. कि life है कि नहीं है. So हाँ वो पर वो अपने ही सोलर सिस्टम में. दिस इज इन अनदर गैलेक्सी, अनदर सोलर सिस्टम. अपने सोलर सिस्टम में विच वी हैव द 8 planets and one, हमारे इसमें ही life is possible. But we are in the Milky Way galaxy and in this Milky Way galaxy अपने जैसे there are at least 10 raised to the power 12 solar systems. और ऐसी कितनी galaxies है? इतनी ज़्यादा galaxies है. So कहीं ना कहीं life होगा. So in fact there are some of the ancient civilizations in Brazil जहाँ पे there are rock carvings belonging to the ancient age. भिम्बेटका जैसे है, that is इनका civilization, जिसमें you find the carvings में जो आज astronauts dress पहनते हैं same dress वो ancient carvings में. So it is said that that civilization used to talk with the extraterrestrial objects. जब हमारे यहाँ पे भिम्बेटका caves वो सब बने थे, जब when there was an era of Mahabharata etc., उस टाइम का civilization है वो. So it is said that they used to talk with the extraterrestrial objects. कौन? Atmosphere. It is based on the heating is based on the atmosphere. Atmosphere का composition अलग है. Greenhouse gases कम है तो heating कम होगी. ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस ज़्यादा है तो हीटिंग ज़्यादा होगी. वाटर वेपर ज़्यादा है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ज़्यादा है तो हीटिंग ज़्यादा होगी. नहीं, दैट इज वन ऑफ द रीजन. दैट इज व्हाट एटमॉस्फेयर इज द रीजन फॉर हीटिंग. सन इज नॉट द रीजन फॉर हीटिंग विच वी फील. सन इज द रीजन फॉर इंसोलेशन. So factors affecting insolation, we have done the first factor, that is the rotation and revolution of the earth. The second factor we have done, that is the angle of the sun rays. And the third factor is an part of the first factor itself, that is the duration of, or what is given in NCERT, I will use that language, what is known as length of a day. Length of a day. Length of a day, if the day length is greater the length of a day, what will happen? More insolation, and therefore more insolation, therefore more heating of earth. And the earth, jitna zyada heat hoga, that excess heat will be given out in the form of which radiations now? Long wave radiations. And this long wave radiations will be trapped by the atmospheric gases, and thus the atmosphere will get heated up. So isliye examples, summers. Example is the summer season. Summer season mein the days are longer than the night time. Hota hai ki nahi? And what will happen in the coming days? What will be longer, nights or days? Nights will be longer than the day. So lesser the length of a day, there will be less heating and less insolation. Less insolation, therefore ground will lose more heat than the heat received. So more heat is being lost. So if you lose, anybody loses the heat, matlab kya? Therefore ground cools. Fine. You will realize in some days that without socks, Delhi mein rehna possible nahi hoga. Why? Because the ground will be very, very cold. Q, nights are longer, days are shorter. So the ground is losing more heat during the night time. Summers mein Delhi mein without socks rehna possible nahi hai. Fir se, Q, ya without footwear. You cannot walk on the bare surface. Days are longer than the night. And therefore it will gain more heat. But जैसे आप ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर के नीचे जाते हो, यू आर गोइंग नियर द पेनिनसुला, यू आर गोइंग नियर द सदर्न स्टेट्स, वहां पे आज भी इन द सदर्न स्टेट्स पीपल डोंट वेयर फुटवेयर इन द हाउस बिकॉज मॉडरेट क्लाइमेट. व्हाई द मॉडरेट क्लाइमेट? सी द शेप ऑफ इंडिया. सो देयर इज मोर इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ winds from the sea, which is going to cool the climate. But in North India, there are two reasons. Ek to it is to the temperate region, it is to the north of the Tropic of Cancer, and it is very, very far away from the sea. So if any climate is very far away from the sea, it has extreme type of climatic conditions. Extreme type of climatic conditions means summers are very hot and the winters are very cold. And therefore, yahan pe there is not a cultural problem of wearing slippers in the house, wearing footwear in the house. South mein, there is a cultural problem of wearing slippers in the house. They don't like it. Why? Because they don't have extreme of temperature. Wahan pe, because it is more nearer to the equator, sun rays are vertical throughout the year. Because the sun rays are vertical throughout the year, therefore there is high heat throughout the year. There is no winter season in peninsula, except in the interiors, if you are far away from the sea. Otherwise, coastal regions mein there is no winter season. And there is no very high heat also, because if there is high heat, there is evaporation. Evaporation se rainfall, and the heat reduces. But this is not the condition in Delhi. This is the condition mein summers are very, very hot and winters are extremely cold. So remember, the farther you go away from the sea, the temperature becomes more extreme. So agar maine pucha which is the coldest place in the world, polar region या slightly before the polar region, north pole या slightly before the north pole. If we see the world map, यहाँ पे Arctic is a sea, but उससे पहले we have one of the biggest land mass which is very very far away from the sea, and this is what is known as Russia, Siberia. So Siberia is very hot during the summers, 30 to 40 degree Celsius जैसे इंडिया है, and recorded temperature during the winters is minus 67 degree Celsius. Minus 67, people stay in that kind of climate. There are cities in Russia where people stay in minus 40, minus 50, it is normal for them. For the people stay in that kind of an climatic conditions. The only thing is they have to be careful, they don't expose any part of their body to the cold climate. Otherwise that part of the body will fall off. Why? Frostbite. Blood gets frozen. As soon as the blood gets frozen, your hand will crack and it will fall off. The same thing what is happening in the Siachen. चश्मा पहन के भी बाहर नहीं निकल सकते, because चश्मा will get stuck to the eyes, तो फिर पूरा यही निकलना पड़ेगा. So this is the third factor, and हमारे एग्जाम के लिए the most important factor is the albedo. The albedo. This is the word you must have heard frequently in the news also. Albedo of the earth is decreasing. So what is albedo? Reflection. That is, the sun rays are coming, they are falling on some kind of the earth's surface, and when they fall on the earth's surface, there are two options. एक तो earth will absorb that, or the earth will reflect. So albedo is how much amount of sunlight is falling, and out of the total amount of sunlight which is falling, how much is reflected in the terms of percentage. How much amount of sunlight is reflected. So when I say albedo is 80%, what does it mean? 80% is absorbed or 80% is reflected? 80% is reflected. When I say albedo is 20%, that means 20% is reflected. Now logically you understand what causes heating of the atmosphere. Sun या earth? Earth through the long wave radiations. Now how does the earth will convert the short wave to long wave? It will absorb, and then when it will re-radiate the heat back, it will be long wave. Ab albedo, will it heat up the surface? No. Sun rays are coming, falling on the surface and are directly being reflected. So they come as the short waves and they are reflected back as the short waves itself. They are not as long waves. Long waves ke liye there has to be absorption. They are reflected as short waves itself. They cannot be reflected as long waves. So you can see, because they are reflected as short waves, they will not heat up the atmosphere. They will not heat up the earth's surface. Simple logic मैं पूछ रहा हूँ. Albedo in your daily life is, we are supposed to wear light clothes in summer season. Why it is the best? Why? Because किसी color का reason, why the some color is white? Why is this white in color? Because all the light are reflected by white. Why anything is black in color? Because it will absorb everything. So if you wear black color, the black color का albedo is 0. So it will absorb and the temperature increase होगा. If it is white in color, उसका albedo is 100%. Nature में 100% नहीं हो सकता, but it is will take 100%. So it will not absorb. So that is why you are supposed to wear white color clothes in the summers, especially in the tropical country like us, not the black color ones, because उसमें ज़्यादा गर्मी होगा. Apply this to the earth. What is white in color? Snow, ice. So what is snow and ice in the nature? Glaciers, ice caps, etc. So जहाँ जहाँ snow and ice caps है, will the temperature be very less? Why? Because the entire sunlight will be reflected back into the space and it will not use for absorption. Ab, how are we changing? Why albedo is important? Are we changing the albedo of the earth? Are we decreasing the albedo of the earth? What is happening to the ice caps and glaciers? They are melting. क्यों? मतलब एक वर्ड में क्यों? Global warming caused due to human beings. So, due to global warming, there is melting of ice caps and glaciers. अब जैसे ही ice caps and glaciers are melted, especially in the Arctic and Antarctic, what will be the effect? Sea will be exposed, sea water, and water की तो property it is going to trap the heat. अब पहले if this is an water body, suppose if this is a water body, it is covered initially by ice caps or glaciers. So the sun rays are coming, hitting them and are reflected back. Up due to the melting of ice caps and glaciers, there are two things which are happening. The one thing is the sun rays are going now deep inside the water and they are heating up the water. So due to heating up of the water, can I say एक effect है इसका, there is increase in the global warming. There will be rise in the sea surface temperature. Second, due to melting of ice caps and glaciers, क्या होगा? Sea का level will rise or decrease? Sea का level is going to rise, so there will rise in the sea level. जैसे ही sea level will rise, what will happen? There will be submergence of coastal areas. So जो IPCC का report जो आया है recently, उसने क्या कहा है? That is, if the temperature increases by X, Y, Z, then India का most of the coastal regions will be below the sea. At what value? If the temperature increases by 2 degrees Celsius, most of the coastal regions will be below. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि temperature can increase even in the Arctic, and because we are in the tropical nations, sea is connected, we can be below the sea. अभी तक कितना increase हुआ है temperature इंडिया में? 1.2 degrees Celsius. Will it affect fishing? Yes. Light can penetrate only up to the depth of 200 meters in the water bodies. जहाँ तक light है, we have photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the only mechanism of producing food. We cannot produce our own food. So there will be no phytoplanktons and it will negatively affect the marine life. It will affect the marine food chain. Secondly, जितना ज़्यादा ocean is warm, उतना stronger is the low pressure, and जितना stronger is the low pressure, that is the rise in the sea surface temperature, will result into numerous things. That is, it may result into increase in the intensity of tropical cyclones. So एक ही आ चुका है अभी तक, तितली. ऐसे बहुत सारे tropical cyclones may visit India in the coming years. Secondly, due to the rise in the sea level, sea surface temperature, there will be further melting of ice caps and glaciers. So we get trapped in the vicious cycle. We have started the process, अब वो chain reaction हो गया. Understanding? That is, we have started the process, now it has become a chain reaction, because due to rise in the sea surface temperature, there will be more increase in the sea surface, there will be further melting of ice caps and glacier, and thus we get trapped in the vicious cycle. And third, especially in the Pacific, El Nino like phenomena will increase. So El Nino is good or bad for India? El Nino. It is associated with droughts in India. La Nina is good for India, El Nino is bad for India.
Sir, rising temperature give rise to mutation
In everything, even in the human bodies, even in plants, even in fishes. And most importantly, fish are affected because human beings, we are cold-blooded, warm-blooded animals. That means what are warm-blooded animals? We can adjust our body temperature according to the surroundings. Fishes cannot do it. If there is a change in the sea surface temperature, they die. It will result into coral bleaching. Suppose I take out by some power all the corals in the world. How much money will be affected in the world today? At this moment, सारे corals गायब हो गए. Corals are $9 trillion industry. $9 trillion. Stock market collapse से भी ज़्यादा खतरनाक collapse होगा. $9 trillion from the world will be going. So not billion, it is trillion. Coral bleaching is a concept when 1 degree rise in temperature from 28 to 29% degree Celsius, 27 average, even if it becomes 29 degrees Celsius, the corals are in symbiotic association with zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae start dying. So when the zooxanthellae gives two things to the corals, one is the food, another is colors. Zooxanthellae मर जाता है, the corals become white in color. Coral bleaching. बारिश होगी, वाटर तब कुछ काम का नहीं है जब बारिश आएगी. वाटर रेनफॉल विल बी टू heavy rainfall for world to sustain. Floods will be there, and floods होने के बाद death and decomposition and moist, so or greenhouse effect. विशेष साइकिल का मतलब क्या है? तो further melting of ice caps. हाँ, तो वही मैं उसी को विशेष साइकिल कह रहा हूँ. तो प्रोसेस कंटिन्यूस रहा है. विशेष साइकिल मतलब हम ट्रैप हो गए उसमें, बाहर नहीं आ रहे. अल्बिडो बड़ा कम हुआ, ड्यू टू दैट देयर विल बी राइज इन द सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर. अब जो बचे हुए आइस कैप्स हैं अंटार्कटिका, आर्कटिक, दे विल फर्दर स्टार्ट मेल्टिंग एट अ ग्रेटर पेस. सो यू आर ट्रैप्ड इन दैट. नहीं समझे? सो फाइन विद दिस. Population control, floods का एक advantage. So rejuvenation of the soil and population control in animals. So you can take down what is albedo. So you can take albedo. Have you understood how to link the topics if it comes in the exam? ज़्यादा knowledge नहीं होगा, ज़्यादा उसी टॉपिक पे इंफॉर्मेशन यू मे बी हैविंग अ लिमिटेड वर्ड, बट इफ यू कैन लिंक द टॉपिक्स यू कैन गेट 200 वर्ड्स. एंड इवन इन द प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन दिस आर ओपन एंडेड टॉपिक्स. So because they are open-ended topics, the questions can come from different dimensions and they all are linked. So this is why how you should be thinking of this. Albedo is important because of the two things. एक तो albedo is decreasing of the earth, and secondly human beings are making the concept of albedo. What is the concept of albedo? The government will soon take up the mega project, at least in the bigger cities, of painting all the houses in the cities with high albedo paint. पिछले साल this paint came in India, high albedo paint. Means the sunlight will fall on our houses and instead of छत गरम होना, Instead of absorption, it will be reflected back. So what it will do? It will reduce our electricity consumption. It will reduce pollution from the point sources, because every 10 lakh increase of the population results into 2% increase in the electricity consumption, which results into 9% increase in the city ka pollution. Understanding this? Why electricity consumption is associated with pollution? Somewhere the coal is burning, somewhere the fossil fuel is burning. So it will reduce the impact of an global warming. These high albedo paints are used now by Tirupati Devasthan. It is used by Shirdi Devasthan, by Vaishnodevi Devasthan, where they ask people to stand in a queue made up of white color, so that वहाँ पे गर्मी या पैर जले ना. But they are very costly, but now the government is thinking of giving subsidies and paint the entire Delhi first as a pilot project with the high albedo paint. It is done in Europe. If you see any of a village of Europe, it will be white in color. छत उनकी white होगी. This is हमारे यहाँ पे we make it of concrete, different colors, tiles. उससे छत गर्म होती है, छत गर्म होती है तो AC का consumption बढ़ता है. So understanding that is more nearer to the nature. Europe is much more nearer to the nature. 2 से 3 डिग्री अगर बाहर का टेम्परेचर है 37, तो छत का टेम्परेचर हो जाता है 44-45 डिग्री सेल्सियस, बिकॉज इट इज स्टोन. बट इफ योर हाउस इज ऑफ एन हाई एल्बिडो पेंट, तो 37, this will be somewhere around 32-33 degree Celsius. It will be reflected inside. ये हो गया एक alternative technologies to fight climate change, जो इस साल का ऐसे था. This is one such technology, high albedo paints. So you can take down albedo. Albedo is defined as the amount of incident solar radiation or the amount of insolation, amount of incident solar radiation or the amount of insolation which after falling on the surface of the earth, after falling on the surface of the earth is reflected back. So the key word here is reflected sunlight, is albedo. Fine with this? It is reflected back. Full stop. It is expressed as a percentage. It is expressed as an percentage. Full stop. In simple words, albedo is the amount of sunlight. In simple words, albedo is the amount of sunlight that is reflected back into the space. That is reflected back into the space. Next point, albedo affects the heat budget of the earth. Albedo affects the heat budget of the earth. Albedo affects the heat budget of the earth. Budget क्या है? कितना income, कितना खर्चा. So कितना insolation आया, how much is absorbed and how much is reflected back. So albedo affects the heat budget of the earth because it is not used for heating of the earth's atmosphere. Because it is not used for heating of the earth's atmosphere. It's not used for heating of the earth's atmosphere. Earth's atmosphere. Earth's surface and atmosphere. मतलब I am directly coming to the earth's atmosphere. Next point, lighter substances, light colored substances have greater albedo. Have greater albedo. Have greater albedo. Now you understand albedo का ये?
That means albedo is short wave radiation.
Albedo is a short wave radiation. Planck's law, physics. Any body which is of primary heat will give out short waves. Any body which is secondary heat, it will give out long waves. Sun is the primary source of heat, so short waves. Earth is the secondary source of heat, so long waves. Albedo, it is not taken up by the earth, it is coming and reflected, so short waves only. मतलब किसका? हाँ, black carbon इसलिए because it will absorb also and it will reflect also long wave radiations. It is both the source. क्या ज़रूरत है रेशियो में? तुम्हें एक क्या? हाँ, वैसे तो वो टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन हुआ है, पर क्या ज़रूरत है? So now you tell me, don't write abhi, just tell me here. Arrange this from highest to lowest albedo. सबसे ज़्यादा albedo किसका होगा? सबसे ज़्यादा albedo. Deserts. Deserts का soil is black or brown या yellowish in color. Why? Why? What gives dark color to the soil? That is one factor. The black color to the soil, dark color to the soil is given by humus. Humus means dead and decomposed organic matter. Desert does not have any trees, does not have any life. इसलिए desert का soils are always lighter in color, क्योंकि humus ही नहीं है. So you see in desert two things, एक तो water vapor नहीं है, plus albedo is very high. So deserts में then days are very hot, but the nights are also cold, because there is no trapping of the heat. Days are very hot because there is no trees to shed. So सबसे ज़्यादा albedo will be of deserts. After that, forest or grasslands? Grasslands. Trees though will absorb the sunlight because they require the sunlight for photosynthesis. So after this, black soil or tropical evergreen forest? And सबसे कम albedo will be of black soil. So I'll give you this list of remembering the albedo, but tell me, can I give a generalized statement that albedo goes on decreasing from equator towards the poles? True or false? False. In general, can I say the albedo increases as we move away from the equator? Equator में tropical evergreen forest. Don't remember the black soil वाला region, वो तो कहीं पे भी हो सकता है. And albedo is the region of total snow cover. And as a result of this, the albedo will go on increasing. So you can take down one statement here. In general, the albedo increases from equator towards the poles. In general, the albedo increases from equator towards the poles. Cirrus clouds have the highest albedo. Cirrus clouds have the highest albedo. Cirrus clouds have the highest albedo. What are cirrus clouds? The clouds which are very high in the sky, और जितना ऊपर in the sky means it is made up of water or ice. Ice. So you can take down now the list. छः किलोमीटर से ऊपर जो भी क्लाउड्स है फ्रॉम द ग्राउंड अबाउट 6 किलोमीटर्स they are known as cirrus clouds. And above 6 kilometers means you should remember जो भी है 6 into 6.5 degrees Celsius the temperature is going to decrease. So generally above 6 kilometers anywhere in the world the temperature is below zero. Below zero, therefore they are made up of ice particles or snow particles. इक्वेटर पे डेजर्ट्स, इक्वेटर पे कभी भी डेजर्ट्स नहीं हो सकते. जनरल क्या लिखा है स्टेटमेंट में? इन जनरल. Equator is always the region of very heavy rainfall. ग्रासलैंड्स में भी अगर पूछा तो हायर अल्बेडो इज ऑफ स्टेपीज, comparatively lower albedo is of savanna. Savanna are the tropical grasslands, steppes are the temperate grasslands. Have you seen Christmas tree? What is the color of the leaves? Dark green or light green? Dark green. Can you tell me why? These are the trees which are located in the higher latitudes. यहाँ पे the sunlight is, we have just seen, inclined. And if they want to capture maximum amount of sunlight, जितना available है उसमें से, so they should have more chlorophyll. More chlorophyll, so more green in color. This is what is adaptation. Survival of the fittest इसको कहते हैं. Understanding? Survival of the fittest has nothing to do with the strength. नहीं तो आज डायनासोर सबसे फिट एनिमल होते थे. Who is the most fittest animal? Cockroach. So generally इस लिस्ट के बाहर से आता नहीं है क्वेश्चन. इन दे आस्क यू, सो कैन आई से from top to bottom the albedo will decrease. Albedo will decrease. हाई अल्बेडो पेंट्स सिर्फ अभी दिमाग में याद रखो, विल कम टू दैट लेटर ऑन. वाटर अलग आएगा. वाटर डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, वाटर इज अ वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स थिंग. डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द कलर, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, अल्बेडो विल चेंज. बिकॉज कंपोजिशन, यमुना, व्हाट इज द कलर इन दिल्ली? व्हाट इज द कलर ऑफ यमुना? ब्लैक. Salt. No. Salt does not give color. Affect albedo? No. Yes, density. It will affect albedo. ब्लैक है इसलिए पूरा अब्जॉर्ब करेगा. अल्बिडो इज द लोएस्ट. Black will absorb everything, white will reflect everything. So albedo means reflection. So you see, October heat is very, very severe in the region of black soil in Maharashtra and some parts of Karnataka. जहाँ जहाँ black soil है वहाँ पे October heat is very severe. It is not as severe जहाँ पे होना चाहिए in Delhi. You had just experienced October heat. क्या था October heat? A phenomena when the days are very hot, but the nights are cooler. So this is the time. Days were very, very hot. Insolation was high, but the nights were cooler. अब winter has arrived. So can I rub this? Prepare the albedo properly. Use the albedo in your answers. Why? Because I'll just give you obviously it has to be white in color. So वैसे भी याद रखना नॉर्मल छत का कलर भी वैसे white होना चाहिए when if it is not an high albedo paint. And second, America is trying this. For example, this is the city, if this is our world. What USA is doing, USA, Canada, Germany, these are spraying the environment friendly aerosols in the upper atmosphere. Because global warming तो कम नहीं हो रहा है, we have to change our present economic model, fossil fuels based. So what they are doing, they are spraying the aerosols in the upper atmosphere. These are the aerosols which have been specifically designed, which will reflect the sunlight or absorb the sunlight, and thus the temperature of the earth will reduce. India is opposing this. Can you tell me why? Many of the people are opposing this. Many of the scientific community is opposing this. So India is opposing this because ये अगर aerosols पूरे world में spread हो गए due to air, due to jet streams, India के ऊपर भी sunlight कम, there will be less sunlight, less evaporation of water, less monsoon में rainfall. And the scientific community is opposing this because they are saying this is a band-aid. आपको कोई disease हुआ है and you are not treating the disease, you are treating the band-aid. Means what they will do? More emissions, more aerosols. More emissions and more aerosols. Ultimately it will come back to us then. Where these aerosols will go? So ऐसे हो सकता है कि sunlight ही नहीं होगा. And
Already USA has lesser sunlight.
USA is a tropical as well as temperate nation. USA का lower part, Gulf of Mexico is tropical. And though I don't teach this in GS, but I am just telling you for your knowledge that we are living in an ice age ka period. Understanding this? We are living in an ice age ka period. This is ice age which is going on. We are not living in the, that is, global warming is delaying the ice age. We are living in the ice age. This is not the period of warm temperature. अर्थ अल्टरनेटिवली गोज थ्रू वार्म कोल्ड. सो सबसे बड़ा आइस एज प्लिस्टोसिन आइस एज, बट देयर हैज बीन मिनी आइस एज फ्रॉम 1500 टू 1800. ये 300 साल पहले. 1800 अभी 2100 चल रहा है, 21st century. So till the 18th century we had an ice age. The ice age which is retreating and it may come back any time. So this period is what is known as an interglacial period. एक अच्छी बात है ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की, we are delaying the ice age. So, but this is not required for GS. Fifth factor, right? Yeah, fourth. Fifth. Effects of the atmosphere. What are the effects of the atmosphere? Dust particles, aerosols, etc. will क्या क्या करेंगे? Absorb, scatter and reflect the sunlight. हम इंसुलेशन कर रहे हैं, so we'll focus only on the sunlight. So some of the dust particles will absorb, some of the dust of the atmosphere will scatter, some of they will reflect the sunlight. So can I say the albedo is present even in the atmosphere? ये क्या है? Albedo ही है. Example. So जितना हम पोल्यूशन करेंगे उतना विल वी अफेक्ट द सनलाइट? अप्लाइड क्वेश्चन में पूछ रहा हूँ. वी आर गोइंग टू इंक्रीज डस्ट पार्टिकल्स, वी आर गोइंग टू इंक्रीज एरोसोल्स एंड उतना ज़्यादा. सो कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है, डज वॉल्केनिक इरप्शंस अफेक्ट द इंसोलेशन? यस और नो? यस. व्हाई? Volcanic eruptions, they will give out maximum amount of aerosols or dust particles which will affect the insolation. Fine with this? So they are going to check your basic knowledge. ये question कभी नहीं आएगा what are the factors affecting insolation. इसके applied questions आएंगे the way I have given you. Albedo, etc. or this has been a question in past. Yes, ask. हाँ, वोल्केनोस के बाद एटमॉस्फेयर हमेशा कूल होता है. So what is the answer? A only, B only, both? What are the factors that can be responsible for climate change in a region? Volcanic eruptions? Yes. Plate tectonics? Not earthquakes. Plate tectonics? Yes. Volcanic eruption, earthquakes, etc. और मैं थोड़ा चेंज करता हूँ क्वेश्चन को. दैट इज क्वेश्चन इज सेम. सो व्हाट इज द दिस हैज बीन योर पास्ट ईयर क्वेश्चन. एज इट इज थोड़ा लैंग्वेज चेंज होगी, बट दिस वेर द टू ऑप्शंस. नाउ यू टेल मी व्हाट इज द आंसर. कॉन्टिनेंटल ड्रिफ्ट, इज इट रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर चेंज ऑफ क्लाइमेट? आप अर्थ पे हो. इमेजिन इंडिया, इक्वेटर. इंडिया पहले यहाँ पे था, पोलार्स पे क्लाइमेट अलग था. India came here, climate is different. India came here, climate is different. Now India is here, the climate is different. So continental drift causes change of the climate. So if you think in the exam, go back to your concepts in the exam, questions are easily doable. So fine with the insulation? We'll come back to insulation when we'll do a topic in environment known as climate engineering. Very basic. So imaginary axis of the earth connecting north to the south. Now in this imaginary axis of the earth, if I try to divide the earth into two equal parts, so should I draw a line from here? So I draw a line which is perpendicular to the imaginary axis, which divides the earth into two equal parts, and I give that line 0 degree, and this 0 degree is what is known as an equator. After this, I divide a line at an equal distance away from the equator and parallel to the equator. So I'll draw a line at 1 degree north, 2 degree, 3 degree, etc. So the lines which are drawn at a distance equal from each other and also at a distance equal from the equator, 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, and parallel to each other are what are known as latitudes. Don't worry about a technical definition. हमें चाहिए practical definition which is going to help us solving the exam ka questions. So you do not worry about reading the technical definition. It is an angular distance of a line away from the center of the earth drawn perpendicular to the axis of the earth. वो नहीं पूछेगी यूपीएससी. यूपीएससी पूछेगी दो latitudes के बीच कितना difference है, why latitudes are important and what is उसका significance. So latitudes का significance क्या है? So can I say latitudes are the lines which are parallel to each other? Are they drawn at a distance equal from each other? So this is 1 degree latitude, this is 2 degree latitude, this is 3 degree latitude. When we do this, again जो prelims के लिए important है, वो आप आज के जैसा PPT से करना. Whatever is important for prelims in climate, it has been given in the micro form in PPTs. Fine? You try to understand the concepts here. Now, if this is a place A, if this is the place D, can I calculate the difference between the place A and D? How? 0 degree minus 3 degree के बीच का distance. This I can do because each and every latitude is placed at an equal distance, where the distance between one latitude is somewhere equal to 111 kilometers. So whether